Today I would like to show you how to dye porcupine quills using madder root. This dye can produce very similar or even identical shades of orange as seen on preserved historical American Indian originals, including quillwork from the Eastern Woodlands, the prairies, the Great Plains, the Rocky Mountains, and even the Columbia Plateau. Madder root has been known in Europe for a very long time as a red dye. It was commonly used in the 19th century and earlier, for example, to dye wool for the redcoats of the British Army. During the colonization of North America, Europeans used natural dyes like indigo, cochineal, and madder root as trade goods. They exchanged these dyes with American Indians for furs. Although Indians used their own natural dyes available in their regions, they quickly adopted the dyes provided by Europeans and began using them to dye quills. I believe that many of the orange quills seen on preserved originals, especially from the Eastern Woodlands, were dyed with imported madder root because of their shades match perfectly. So what do we need? We need madder root and cream of tartar, which acts as a mordant. Both are relatively easy to find, for example, online. For me personally, it was difficult to get porcupine quills because I live in Europe and there are no porcupines here. So we have to obtain porcupine hides from the USA, which is becoming more and more challenging. Here I have some porcupine quills ready, and the first step is to mordant them using cream of tartar. This works by opening up the structure of the quills so they can absorb dye better and faster. Quills in their natural state are quite hard to dye, so mordanting helps a lot. Mordanting reduces the time needed to dye the quills and usually results in brighter colors. In a pot with warm water, I dissolved a few tablespoons of cream of tartar and mixed it well. Then I place the quills into the solution. They should all be submerged, but it's tricky because they are hollow, contain air, and tend to float. Now, it is important to heat the solution and stir the quills at the same time. Here is an important point. The quills shouldn't be exposed to temperatures higher than about 60 degrees Celsius, maximum 70 degrees Celsius, and they should definitely not boil. High temperatures can damage the quills. If the water temperature is too low, the mordanting and dyeing process won't work as well. That is why I aim to keep the temperature around 60 degrees Celsius using non-contact thermometer to check. The quills need to be mordanted for about 30 minutes, then taken out of the pot. Next, I prepared the dye using madder root. I put the crushed root into a fine mesh bag, which I bought at grocery store. The bag keeps the solution clean and free of madder mess. Usually, 1 or 2 handfuls of madder root are enough for a large pot. I placed the bag with madder root into the pot with warm water. As you can see in the video, the madder starts releasing an orange-red color. Before adding the quills, it's a good idea to boil the madder in water to extract as much dye as possible. Once the madder has been boiled, the solution becomes much darker. The solution is around 80 degrees Celsius at this point, which is too hot for the quills, so we need to let it cool down to about 60 degrees Celsius before adding the quills. When the bath cools to around 60 degrees Celsius, I place the mordanted quills into the dye. From there, it is necessary to maintain the temperature at around 60 degrees Celsius while stirring and turning the quills to ensure even dyeing. Of course, I keep an eye on the color. Once I am happy with the shade, I take the quills out of the dye, strain them and rinse them in clean, lukewarm water. To fix the color, it is good idea to add a bit of vinegar to the solution. I leave the quills in the warm vinegar water for about 15 to 20 minutes, stirring occasionally. Finally, I remove the quills, lay them out on newspaper or paper to dry, and that's it. Lastly, I would like to point out that it's very difficult to produce a video that captures color tones faithfully. During the production process, there can be significant color distortion. It can be caused by artificial lighting, the camera color profiles, the video editing software, YouTube algorithms, and even your monitor. There are several stages where color shift can occur. I mention this because some people in the comments under some of my videos criticized the colors of old beads, for example. However, in reality, these colors often look different compared to how they appear on YouTube. So that's my note on colors. And that's all from me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.